What's good, people? It's Ocean here. Welcome back to the podcast. I think this is episode 17 now. And today we have got Eli Brown on the podcast. He's a sick sample maker from Toronto, Canada. And he's been getting placements with like Chris Brown, Lil Spirit. And we go into all of that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let's get straight into it.
Ocean gang or drown.
What's good, people? It's Ocean here. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we've got God Bless Eli on. What's good, bro?
What's happening, dog?
I'm good, man. How is everything on your side?
Just moving around, trying to get things together, you feel me? How are you?
Yeah, man. Same here, man. Just working, trying to keep it moving and that.
I feel that.
But yeah, as a first-time guest, we like to take it all the way back to the beginning, your come up, how you got into music and all that. So let's go all the way back to young Eli, first getting in the game and that.
Well, the first time, so basically, when I first started, it was because I was trying to rap, but I needed beats, just like the typical story. So I went to this youth program that, out here in Canada, we have these things called 40 hours, community service to graduate. So where I went over there, I'm like, all right, cool. This might be a good place for me to do my hours, as well as learn how to make music. But the thing that really had me hooked was Jazz Cartier came the day before I came. So I was like, damn, this place is official. I wonder who's going to come out next, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What was he just like a guest there, or was he trying to do the 40 hours thing?
Oh, okay, nah, cool. He was a guest there. At that time, he had Murata in Paradise, which was the project that kind of put him. It was like a breakthrough project. And it just dropped. It was ringing off. So I was like, damn, I gotta I don't know. I just thought that it was mad lit. And I thought I just kept going and going. He didn't come back again. But I mean, it's all good. I stay consistent because I was like, yo, I'm there for myself. It wasn't because he was there. To be honest, it was just that. It just hit me really hard. So after that, I started making beats, Wonder Girl beats, because that's my favorite producer. That's she's the reason why I started. Cause she's the only person from at least from where I'm from, to have this crazy story. 16-year-old producer working with Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Not even just a Jay-Z thing. Her beats were insane. It was insane.
Yeah.
And it was pre-Antidote. She had The Prayer, Travis Scott, Days Before Rodeo. She had Freaky Young Thug, man. She was going crazy. So after that, I kind of had at least when it comes to samples, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm known for now. It was a multiple series of things. It was I had an internship. So that same program I went to, the facilitator was an engineer. He was trying to be a full-time freelance engineer or something like that. And basically, he had a studio at this crazy, man. It was called the Music Mansion. It was crazy. It had so much gear. Mad. Yeah, it had gear. It had it was just crazy. That's the first time I ever seen a $15,000 mic. And mind you, I was young, so stuff like that. I was like, damn, this is too expensive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't play around with these. This is for real. That was one introduction. After when I met For the Night at my part-time job, For the Night's producer was I think he even works with Wonder Girl too, something like that. Of course. And yeah, we were my bad. So when I went to the Music Mansion to do an internship for the homie from that same program, and I saw all those gears, I was like, damn, this is I didn't even know what it was, to be honest. I just knew that people took a picture beside it, but I know that no one knew what the fuck to do with it. I know people did not know, oh, my bad. You guys allowed to swear on here.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
All right, bet. I'm yo, no one knows what to do with these things. What the heck's a distressor or whatever. So I'm looking, he's yo, the engineer's yo, you got to learn all these things. You want to be an engineer or a producer, you got to make sure you learn, more than everybody, because, there's too many people trying to do music or whatever. So you have to find a way to separate yourself. So I'm at that time, I was mad young. I was mad ambitious. So I was all right, let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The next day, all night, I've been watching Dave Pensado. I didn't really have school like that. And I had I was watching Dave Pensado for a week straight. I got sick in like a week. Like I ain't gonna lie, because I was like going how to do
Yeah.
doubling technique, all these like bussing and all these kind of things in Pro Tools. I was learning Pro Tools crazy to the point where it's like even now today I know how to use Pro Tools a bit. So while that was happening, why I bring that story up is because while I was researching those hardware and stuff and really getting familiar with it, I kind of realized like Nexus, Omnisphere, and all these plugins that I like are all based off of vintage analog gear.
Yeah.
And that was like a unique perspective at that time because like I thought like analog stuff were trash. Cause like I don't know, like at least the context of the way it was played, like these like action movies, 80s synths, like synthwaves. I'm like, yo, bro, like this not sick. Like I don't know why people think it's fire, but at that time, Q Beats was emerging with a sound, right? And they used a lot of analog stuff, but I didn't know what it was. But not until I went back, like to really learn that all these atmospheres are based on like analog stuff. Did it like bring my attention that Q Beats and all these guys using analog. Frank is using analog. All these guys are using analog. Like it's just the way they're playing it is so saucy. They're making it like modern trap music over analog stuff. And that was the beginning of a mental breakthrough for me. So okay, cool. I met 49, whatever. 49's like the first person I ever talked to about me making music. I was too scared to say I made music. This is like this mad stigma, especially as a black kid, just in general.
So was you making beats all of the time that you was in the internship as well?
Yeah, I was. I was like, yeah. But like no one really knew like that. I wasn't very vocal about it. I was like, I did it for myself. I try to make, work hard, come up when they know type situation.
Yeah.
But you know what's mad funny? I watched a Wonder Girl interview. No, whatever a lot. I watched Wonder Girl interview. I think she was breaking down a beat or whatever. I forgot what it was. One of the sponsorship videos. And she was like, for you to make it, you had to step out of your comfort zone. And I remember I felt so attacked. I'm like, damn, like I'm in my comfort zone. Like I gotta talk to somebody. I gotta go talk to somebody.
Man, I feel you on that one. Because I did the same kind of thing. For the first year of making beats and that, I didn't really tell anyone. I was just doing it just to like get better. So one day I'd come up and be like, okay, like this is a beat that I made. And I've been doing it long enough, so now it sounds kind of good.
Yeah, facts. Facts. But low-key, when you share it to people and get feedback, you get better. As opposed 100%. To if you were to lock in your room. That's what really actually helped me. So me and Fortnite was it was an interesting moment because it was like I stepped out of my comfort zone and he liked it. And Fortnite was at that time. Fortnite wasn't the type of guy to like anything. You know what I'm saying? It's even funny to the point I almost didn't talk to the guy. I almost quit that job because my manager was very like, he's a racist guy. He was like, I don't know, bro. He's just not a cool guy, bro. He's not a sick guy. Yeah. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to be doing on this job. I remember he came to me, he's like, yo, do you want this job or not? I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, which job was this one? Was this at the internship or the other one?
No, Canadian Tire. This is the next job, my bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so this is like a hardware store.
Yeah.
Right? And after I moved departments because he hired me. And after that's where Fortnite was like the supervisor or team leader, whatever, for that department. Right? But I never talked to the guy like that. And after the day I finally showed him my music, I talked to the guy like that. Right? So then boom, I used to go to his basement a lot to just work overall. At that time, we're trying to be like different. We're trying to separate ourselves and be unique. And we stumbled upon Kingsway's library. Right? And we're like, yo, these samples are out of this world. Because essentially what I kind of realized what Frank was doing was like, he gave you the feel and the textures and everything of like the past, but he gave you the part that you needed and you can just do the drums. And at that time too, it was like, I think sampling was dying, but it was still like a thing. And I didn't want to use the same YouTube samples everybody used. And Kingsway, no one was really using Kingsway like that, unless you were popping.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I got one. So this is like the birth of me making samples. Those like multiple events simultaneously, it all struck me. I was like, yo, like I can make samples too.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I said I can make it too. And when I realized I can make it too, I was like, yo, there's going to be a lot of new producers who are going to make samples in general. Like, it's going to be the next thing. It's going to blow up. Like, I saw this, and this is like,
Yeah. How long ago was this?
this is like 2016, 2017.
Damn, that's really early.
That's early, feel me? So I just
Yeah.
knew, because it's like at that time I was learning about business and entrepreneurship at the same time. And I was all learning about, like, I think like Dropbox or Uber or Airbnb. And they say, yo, like, sometimes you just have to solve a small problem
Mm-hmm.
that everybody's facing. Then that shit will just, like, it will just like change the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought samples was like that. And because, I mean, as I started becoming involved with culture, even my homie for the night, I think he lost a placement because of a sample. It was bad. Like, you had to clear samples, and for what I remember, it was like at least 50 racks
Damn, that
to
is a
clear a
lot.
sample, right?
Yeah.
You
But
know,
a lot of those like old samples from like the 70s and that, they do have like some high fee sometimes.
yeah,
I've heard stories of like people having to clear for like 150 bags and stuff like that.
yeah. It could get bad. It could get really, really bad. And at that time, hip hop music wasn't necessarily melody. It was more drum bass. It was really drum bass at that time. Drums was
Mm-hmm.
what made hip hop. So it was like a lot of people just like either you hope that the label is rich enough to pay for the sample, or the people are nice enough to, you know what I'm saying, let you use the sample. Because if you also remember at that time, rap music was very like unappreciated. People didn't think it was real. They felt almost like if you use their sample, it was like a form of disrespect.
Yeah, there was a stigma to
There's
it.
a stigma to
Yeah,
it.
like they're dirty in their music or something like
Yeah,
that.
like you're turning their music, using like their music in the wrong way,
Yeah.
which is like funny and ironic now, but at that time that was a real reality. So all these things hit me going to the internship, all this. And the reason why I say the internship is because at that time no one knew about Arteria,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally was one of the first few people on Arteria. I remember they didn't. I was like Arteria, maybe fourth or maybe 4 or 3, and we're on like
Man, that's
7 or
early because they're
6.
like 7 now.
Yeah, like on 7 now. So you
Yeah.
think about it. So I was like, all right, bet, I got all the analog sounds. So when I started making samples, like, I never sent it out. I was too like same kid mentality. I was like, yo, I'm trying to hide this away from people. If people find out, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, that was very bad thinking. But you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn. I sent it. I finally sent it to a homie, and this guy inspired me so much. He's from like a random province from out here, like a random kind of like state from out here. His name
Mm-hmm.
was Edie's, and I sent him like samples, and that's how we were able to work. Because I started seeing Elmine talk about like collabing, and I just didn't know how to collab with people because my drums are not
Yeah.
out the par. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to like try to force myself to do something I'm not necessarily that great at that
Mm-hmm.
time compared to other people, right? So I was like, like, how can I? And this is where again the Wonder Girl came into my head. You had to step out of your comfort zone. I was like, damn, I was so
She's like that
conflicted.
little voice in the back of your head
She was
pushing
that
you.
little voice in the back of my head, and I was like, damn, how can I go about this? Yo, can I just send you melodies? You know what I'm saying? Can I just send
Yeah.
you samples or whatever? That was like the introduction of the sample business, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're seeing right now. It's just like samples more like, it's not necessarily a thing, just a melody thing you do for melodies and placements. It's just almost like a service. You're helping out the drum guy in a way. So
Yeah.
I was sending him samples, and after it turned into, I always wanted a record with this guy, Sean Leon, in my city, and I always had this like preconception that like for me to reach Sean Leon, it would take years before he kind of really knows who I am, because I had to build my name up or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? As a nobody right now, it would have made sense. But I sent EDs the sample, and we got a record with my homie, my other homie, and Sean Leon. I'm like, whoa, it's just that easy.
Nice. Yeah.
It's just that easy. Like, in my head, I was like, wait a second, this. So I was like really taking in the sample. I'm like, yo, if you do right and you do quality work, you can skip a lot of steps. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to wait that like 10-year, 5-year period for some mini progress. You can cut that down to maybe 2 or 1 year.
Yeah.
You feel me? So that was a very big perspective shift. And another perspective shift when I started putting out sample packs was Daniel East and Mario Luciano. Those are two of the newest like sample guys at that time. This was before Palace. This was before Foreign Gotham, I believe. All these other guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, I guess I'll do it too. And I was so shy because I was like, damn, I'm not sure how it'll be like. I'm not trying to let people know the wave because I'm not trying to like let it become saturated. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, obviously, I was being naive. So I'm like, whatever. I can't think like this. I'm gonna put it out, man. It's eventually gonna come out. Like, might as well take the lead, you know. Boom, put on my first sample pack. I was like, damn, like I got a huge response to it. I got like $120 in the first month, plus like US or whatever, like 200 something US because I think I took DM orders. And I was like, yo, what the heck? Like, this is cool. Like I was like like whatever, working a job. So it was kind of cool to me because I was working a job. I was getting money from music. I'm like, yo, I thought people say you can't make money from music. This is crazy. You feel me? So I kept consistent at it. You know.
So let me ask you this.
Of course.
Before you were saying about like if you have the quality, then you can skip a lot of steps. How did you or how long would you say like it took you to get to a quality level? And then when did you realize like, okay, this is quality now, it's time?
I'm not gonna lie to you, 2 years. Not until like maybe last couple of months. But that's because I have a taste for like high level stuff, you know. There's like a lot of people that like can make it by doing cheap stuff. But I like to like have the playing down. I just want to be like a GOAT. Like I just want to be sick, you know what I'm saying? So that's a different standard for me. But I mean, I guess off rip, because it was like a new thing at that time, it was appreciated and it was fire, you know what I'm saying? So I guess when I started, you could say it was somewhat quality, because I remember I put like a lot of direction into it. You know, like there's a lot of changes and switch ups and work around it.
So did you have like a good, like a strong foundation in music before you started doing the samples and that?
I mean, I guess I
like
can't really say
theory and that kind of stuff.
So yeah, I didn't know music theory like that. I just knew how to play songs, like classical music. You know, a lot of people, if you know what people say, is like, yo, someone can play piano for like 12 years. When you ask them to come up from something from scratch, they kind of like just don't know what to do. That was me. I just did not know what to do. But all I know is that like, when it came to samples, what really helped me was understanding music structure, which I guess came with me playing saxophone, piano, even bass drum, and just like stuff like that growing up. So I knew the structure, I knew changes. I guess what you should say, my ear was developed. The kind of musical ear was developed, which is like, I do feel like it's a very important piece to the to this whole equation of why I'm doing what I'm doing now. But I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like everybody has their musical ear developed. As long as you was listening to music from when you're a kid to now, you have a sense for music.
I feel you, yeah. So yeah, you started doing your samples. I mean, when you started doing your samples, did you say to yourself, all right, I'm not even gonna bother doing drums anymore, that's it, like I'm sample and that's it?
Of course, bro. I mean, it wasn't fully like that around that time, but of course, I was like, yo, it's working for me. It's doing much more. At that time, I understood people were trying to say music was saturated, and that used to bug me. I was like, man, if music game saturated, how are we all gonna like make it out? Or like how we, you know what I'm saying? Some child kind of thinking. Yeah. Now that I heard of like specializing and being a niche, then I'm like, okay, so as long as I carry this niche, or like I do this niche thing, I'll cut through. So that's what I had in my mind. So I was like, yo, I'm only gonna do samples, no drums. But I still did drums a bit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you started doing your samples and that, you started putting them out for sale. What was like the next step after that?
Understanding how the industry moves and how 2 and 2 goes together. So that's why I took Mario's class, right? I took Mario's sample class because he was, in my head, like a quote unquote regular guy that is making it in the industry. And I need to know how, I need to know why that is. So I took his class, I asked mad questions, I tried to figure everything. And after it all made sense to me. And then after, the next step was DMing people.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, DMing random people to get, work across or music across wasn't popular at that time.
Do you mean like people wasn't receptive to it?
Nah, it wasn't. People just didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like in early 2017, a young producer wouldn't go and message his big producer because people had this preassumption that no one's gonna respond.
Yeah, 100%. I still think that is well, not for everyone, but I think for the majority of people, that's still the mindset. For
The
me,
mindset,
anyway, for sure. Yeah, that was our mindset for the longest time.
But yeah, for sure, and I do feel like it happened to a lot of people, and but it was way worse that time because to the point where it's like now. At first, people did it on like. It was like a centralized. It was like central. I guess that's the word, centralized. Like a few people were DMing, but now you got like 10 DMs a day. Let me send you samples. You feel me? Even me, like I get mad DMs a day. Yo, let me send you samples. Before it wasn't like that. People would even find like a guy like me and be like, yo, let me send you samples. You
So
feel me?
would you say like it was kind of, what's the word? Like it was kind of easier to reach people, I guess, then because less people were doing it.
Yes, exactly. That was ironic. The whole ironic thing. It was easier to reach people.
Yeah.
You feel me? It wasn't understood that to build a career in music, you just had to message the right few people. Right? Yeah. So that was the next step for me. And after, like, I wish I did it a little bit better, but at least in my assumption, I feel like that's what kind of helped Palace. Like Palace, obviously everybody knows the story. It's a little bit, he doesn't necessarily know exactly what happened, but I do feel like somewhat that his relationship with Gezin is what, like him DMing Gezin or whatever the case is, was a piece to the puzzle of why he got on or whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm pretty sure you watched his interview, so he doesn't know for sure. But other people, they message certain people, which like changed their whole life completely. Only one 808 Mafia. I think who messaged who to get. I had a homie called Nostalgic. He got got Grammy nominated and platinum for just off of DMs. I know another homie, I think signed to vinyls, through just DMs. And this is like big names where you just wouldn't expect those things to happen.
Yeah.
You feel me? So yeah, that was the next step for me.
That's actually, now you're saying that, that's got me thinking, because like all these really young producers who are coming up, these like young 16, 17 year olds, but are getting signed to like Jetson Made and
Jetson Made,
all these big
facts.
producers of that.
Facts. And like the biggest ecosystem was Instagram. For at least the last 2 years, Instagram was the reason why a lot of records happened and why a lot of these relationships even came to be. Yeah.
So what was your plan of action on Instagram? Was you, or DMing? Was you trying to like do it to get placements or to work with people? Or like, what was in it for you?
Well, me, my personality and how I am as a person, like it wasn't necessarily placements, because like if you try to chase placements, you look goofy, bro. So all these guys, after a while, I could realize all these guys are friends. All these guys are homies. So it was like, if you go to, let's say, Ocean, like let's say some kid goes to you, but yo, I look up to you, says the same message. It comes to me, then they probably didn't know that we know each other like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like after a while, if I come to show you, like, yo, look at this kid, and you're like, oh, this the kid same message as me. It's like he's joking. So what I did coming into is I try to find people that inspired me based on sound, or people I really wanted to work with, and I'll hit them. And I started to do is just do my research, go on Genius, go on Spotify, see who's doing what, pay attention. I found a lot of cool people and cool homies do that way. Just like
that's some gems right there.
Yes, some serious gems. Actually, who did that first? You know who did that first? That really like spoke to me about like people are not looking the right way. Travis Scott. Travis Scott did that. Because the Travis Scott story, how he met Killhoffer, which was one of the reasons that led to Kanye West, was he was just going through credits, looking through the credits. You know what I'm saying? He saw that people were trying to reach out to Killhoffer on on like Twitter messages, but
Yeah.
they never emailed him. His email was in the bio. And he sent it to Killhofer the email. I think it was his friend that wrote it up for him. Killhofer responded, and I think he went and had a meeting with him or something. I don't know where he had a meeting with him. I think it was LA or New York.
Yeah. Okay.
And after that was one of the pieces of the puzzle for his success. I don't think people really know that. But at that time, Travis Scott, because with Wendigos coming up at that time, Travis Scott was coming up at that time to start them.
Mm-hmm.
He only had like Days Before Rodeo and Alfaro.
Yeah, like the first projects.
First few projects, yeah. So that concept always stayed with me. It's like, yo, people are not looking at the right places or people who are doing the work. So that's why I make sure I know who was who, the ins and outs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So from doing like all the DMs and stuff like that, what kind of happened next? I guess what was like the next stages, the next evolution.
Well, the evolution was me. Okay, so I was in the community. I was like getting my stuff, working on my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The part why I kind of even learned even more in depth of the music game was when I tapped in with Keanu Beats. We were working on some samples and getting placements together. And I just kind of like saw things in a certain way. I don't know how to explain it. It kind of showed me even the depth of this game, but people's personalities, the business, whatever, yo.
Yeah.
Right? Keanu did tell me a lot about what's going on, and he's almost like a mentor in that sense. Damn, I hate when they do this on interviews or they forget that. Like they're like, "Yo, what's the question again? What's the question again?"
Like what happened? Well, not even what happened next, but like through DMing, where has that taken you now to like where you are today?
Cool,
like the evolution, I guess.
Cool. DMing had got me flown out to LA to work. The same concept. I did my research.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of.
No, go ahead. What you was gonna say?
I was a big fan of Nisha at that time because like she didn't have that much at that time. She only had a few things, but her story was inspiring. She only had like the Chris Brown record, Pull Up, and that was like her first platinum. But people kept talking about her like, yo, this is the next wave.
Yeah.
And her story was inspiring because she was like a same age as me, left university to go pursue music full time in LA and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I gotta learn from someone who's doing it now, like who's relevant now. Not no old man kind of vibes, because they kind of give you like this kind of watered down advice, keep working and eventually it'll happen for you. I was like, dog, I need someone that's gonna give me like real sauce. So I read an interview about her because I think the the Cardi B just came out. So she was like, and Beyonce's album I think caught fire around that time because Bodak Yellow was popping. So they interviewed everybody, and she talked about how, the Beyonce came out. It was a Cardi B, then the Beyonce. Then after I was reading through, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, how did this happen? Like, just me learning the game. He's like, yeah, like I emailed. I was working with Brandon Kitchen, and he sent my music to Beyonce's team. Then after, I started working with Beyonce basically. I started, writing with her. So, and this is how the LA trip happened. So I went and go follow the guy, and I DM'd the guy. I'm like, yo, I'm kind of lost right now. I don't know necessarily where to go. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to like do things, hoping that it works. Hopefully it sticks together. Here's some music, kind of show you, whatever. Nothing's really happened. Obviously some A&R and shit, like, yeah, just like I just sent music, like, okay, cool, You finally checked it after like a month after, you know what I'm saying? Cool. He's like, yeah, I like this one, I was at a different voice. So yeah, like sometimes get in the room. Oh, this is a pivotal point. I'm actually so happy I said this. He's like, sometimes being in the rooms doesn't mean that you're good. It's just proper branding. So maybe just try branding. So I'm like, all right, cool. It's kind of weird because his name's Brandon. And he's on, oh my bad. But I'm like, all right, bet. So cool. I focus on branding. That kind of answers your question. Ironically, I focus on branding and like putting my samples on the internet in a small way. Because it's like he's right. Because like these guys are not like they're not the most receptive to bring you to the studios or to you know what I'm saying. Because they don't know who you are. It's just like
you gotta be somebody, if that makes sense.
Not even in that. Well,
You gotta have a presence. You can't just
yeah,
like
presence. Exactly right. Exactly right. You're right, bro. I want to say like you don't want a stranger to come to the studio session and ruin like
yeah
the vibe. Literally,
yeah.
right?
Because I guess like through your branding, that's a window to who you are as a person.
Who you are as a person.
If you look good in your branding on your Instagram, whatever it is, your social media, then it's like okay, it's cool, you can come through. If
He's
you're
a
like 100 followers following 20,000 people, you look spammy. You might have a spammy
yeah.
vibe. You know what I'm
You
saying?
might, yeah. Not facts, bro. Not facts. And you just hit on the nail on the head. Because I mean, if we're being honest, there's some guys on on Instagram. We should not be hanging like yo. There's some scary people, bro. You don't know what people want to do to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get it. And like the branding was that communication. Like, hey, I'm a real person. I'm a vibey person. You know what I'm saying? I'm respectful.
Yeah.
You know that kind of type of thing. So that's what I focused on for a while. And after 6 months after, random, he hits me like, "Yo, hey, what's good? Send me some music." And I'm like, "All right, that's random." I sent him some music. He's like, "Oh, yo, these are dope." Um, whatever. I left it at that. I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, you know what I'm saying? Then boom,
Yeah.
I got a message right after. He's like, "Yo, I showed these to my business partner, and he really loves your stuff." And we're hoping to actually fly out to come to LA. And I'm like, oh
That's
shoot,
sick.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because his business partner, his homie Gary Leon from Atlantic Records. So they're like, yo, we're gonna come out, work for a bit, let's make something poppin'. And that was like a dream of mine to get flown out to LA. That was like
Mm-hmm.
one of those things where it's like, man, that's like the validation thing. I was like, yo, like if I can just do that,
100%.
then I could the world is mine. You know what I'm saying? The world is mine.
Yeah.
So boom, the week after I was in LA. The week after.
Nice.
You feel me?
That's amazing, man. So
Yeah.
now that you've been creating samples, you've been getting placements and that. What's some sample source I guess
Uh-huh.
you could tell us about? What's some stuff that you've learned that you think
That can really
is some
impact your
source?
samples?
Yeah.
Bro, honestly, this is like I kind of realize this is the most up on thing is like I have a QB playlist on Spotify that I just listen to just to hear like I don't know, the bounce, like just to know what's in, you know. And I don't think people, I think a lot of people are against those ideas, but I learned from the Q Beats sauce and like hearing what works and what doesn't, because like not everything works. Sample sauce, damn. Mixing in mono,
Mixing.
mixing in mono.
Oh, okay, I got
Mixing
you.
in mono. If you know,
Yeah.
you know. If you know, you know. That's all I can say. If you know, you know. That's all I can say.
I feel you.
That
Do you
I
ever
know.
use any analog gear at all?
I mean, when I was working on my Kingsway time heavy, like the Kingsway stuff heavy, I was using the Juno and Memory Move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But other than that, like I use guitar pedals now, but not really. Like honestly, bro, like you'll be surprised. A lot of these guys that you guys think that use analog gear, even if they have it, they don't really use it.
I could see why. I mean, it's a lot easier to load up a VST than
it's that as
sitting
well
there
as
playing that.
facts. And even then, it's like with the power finesse, EQing, mixing in mono.
You got if
You know
you as you said, if you mix like properly, your VSTs are that, and you can get it to sound like an analog bit fair.
Yeah, so
And most
like,
people can't, and it sounds cheap.
yeah, most people can't. They just slap on RC20 thinking, oh, this is vintage.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, really go back and study the sounds. The sauce is there. Like that's all I need to say. The sauce is not like it's like you have to do this hidden journey. The sauce is there. You already have the sauce. It's just how to make the sauce is the sauce.
yeah.
Yeah. But mixing mono is definitely a big gem. And maybe like, I don't know, I'll give another gem, cutting out certain frequencies that didn't exist in old music. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, that's love one. But yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So with what you got going on now, because I remember we were talking before that you was thinking of even moving to LA at some point.
Of course.
What's your reasoning for that?
At least for the most part, every time I'm in LA, something like crazy happens. Like something like
Mm-hmm.
I guess out of the world for me happens. But for LA, it's very informal. The speed is different, and it's like also like I feel like the people I work with, we would have rented up. We would have been rented up had I been in LA. Cause at least like when it comes to emailing, it's like I don't know, bro. At least with me, I kind of take it for granted. But like emailing is like I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Mm.
So as if I'm living out there, you know what I'm saying, I'm applying the same finesse and sauce or whatever, I can get things active. Because not only that, at least me as a person, I don't really learn this game just to sound wise. I learn this game on psychology. So it's like I try to understand people. I feel
Okay,
like
yeah,
that's a big part of records.
yeah. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
And also now that you're doing just samples and that,
Yes, sir.
what's your kind of? I'm always intrigued by this, just the kind of workflow with doing samples. Because for me personally, I tell you, like, I could make beats. I can make loads of beats every day. If you
Yeah.
give me a loop or whatever, I could do it. But
Yeah.
samples
Yeah.
is or melodies is something that it just pulls from a different point. If you know what I'm saying, like, it's a
Yeah.
lot of it's just a lot of energy in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
To output. So what's your kind of your workflow on that? Are you just waking up in the morning, doing it all night, all day? Like,
When it comes to samples, the workflow is like before I even touched FL, either I practice piano or I listen to bare songs, just like a lot of songs, because like I draw inspiration from that heavy, like the chord structure or like the concept. I call these like concepts, but like mixing concepts or like panning concepts or like I don't know VST palettes. You know what I'm saying? Just to see the range of sounds, like type of thing.
yeah.
But and after when I go into work, it really just starts off with like an idea. Then after it finishes itself, I couldn't. Well, that's kind of a lie. Nah, it's not really a lie. I just kind of finishes itself. Cause I already have the inspiration. I kind of know where I want to end it. I kind of start with the end in mind before I even like. I don't just kind of do it random sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say like you're banging them out like one after another, or do you like you do? Because I think I was listening to Palace, and you'd be like, I sit down, I do a melody, and then if I'm not feeling it, I'll come back to it maybe a bit later. But I do one, take a break, and then come back and start again. Like, would you say your process is kind of similar, or you just banging them out?
Honestly, my process is more of banging them out. I don't like going back to work. I don't have that kind of like patience to go back to work. If it doesn't strike me in that time within the first 20 minutes, it's not worth it. It might like for the most part.
For that one sample, or do you mean like for
Yeah,
the
for that one
whole
sample.
session? Oh, okay,
For that one
cool.
sample, bro. Cause like sometimes like I especially when I was pumping out a lot now I'm like more focused on a lot of things, other things. But when I was doing it like solely like going crazy, there's like I think a time where I even did like 20 samples in like a setting, like just boom right there, boom, 20 samples.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the first few are not gonna hit the hardest. At least for me, the first few never hit the hardest.
Yeah,
or
that's
it's like
true. Yeah.
the first few hits the hardest, and after the other ones, it's just like, yeah, like it's whatever. So that's why I just kind of have perseverance. I'm a big believer that creativity is a muscle. Yeah.
So you mean like
You just gotta
once you keep practicing it and keep doing it, then it's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, what's your goals? Where are you trying to take? I know this is like a really general question, isn't it? But like, where are you trying to take this?
That's not a general question because I already been thinking about this a lot. But obviously, you know, like I've been doing sample classes. I'm trying to like turn it almost into like some sort of institution. It's like it's bigger than what it is right now.
So yeah, let's talk about that. Your sample classes and that, because
Yes,
I actually did your sample class.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm not gonna lie. I honestly feel like that was like one of the best things I've done this year in terms of like growing as a musician in it,
Man, thanks.
and
Thank you.
stepping up my melodies in general, just like learning new. Yeah, man.
Yeah, nah.
If you're listening to this, at least consider it because it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, talk to us about your sample
Yeah,
classes.
nah, I appreciate you, man. Like a lot of people have been saying that, and I was like, I'm blown away, to be honest. I was like, damn, oh, cool, like you know what I'm saying. But overall, so the sample classes was really just like, all right, quarantine happened.
Mm-hmm.
I finally realized that I ain't trying to like trying to like make 100 beats a day or 100 samples a day because I have the overly amount of time. I'm like, yo, no, let me like do something I always wanted to do, which was sample classes, because I was like, there's a lot of producers out here with insane potential, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
something small. It's like, well, my bad. My bad. So yeah, I wanted to do sample classes because I was like, damn, like I always wanted to help like people realize that small shift. Because I realized in my journey, there's just some miniature shifts that help change the whole trajectory of everything. And I know a lot of
Yeah.
people have better samples than some guys that are in good positions, not because, and they're not up because of the samples. It's just because of the perspective and how they think about, music and the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, cool. Let me just do this, whatever. I didn't think too much about it. At that time, I don't think I had my records coming out. I knew they were on the way, but I just didn't have them out, and some other ones that were out. So I was like, all right, let me take a chance with this. Even if like 10 mans take it, I'll make sure these 10 mans, you know what I know. Because not
Yeah.
everybody has been a chance to be in the studios. I had a chance to be in studios. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And for the most part, I can't post all of them because not every artist appreciates that, as well as you don't want it's like a clout chaser or whatever whatever the case is. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
some sessions that are very private, like exclusive. So I'll put the knowledge of those whatever I've done traveling back and forth to LA to someone that wants to do the same. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe a few people would trust me to help them deliver that, to even trust to know what I'm talking about. So when I did that on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, whatever, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do, the whole curriculum. The curriculum was just really just like those pivotal points in my, I guess, in my come up, and I feel like a lot of other people's come up. I did a poster or whatever, put on Instagram, boom, caught on like wildfire. Like
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed, like to the point where it's like, damn, I don't know, because I got like in like 24 hours, like 80 to 100 DMs, like you know what I'm
Damn, that's
saying?
a
Like
lot.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
You feel me? But I should have expected it. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people want to know how to advance their samples. A lot of people are at a stagnant point because the
Mm-hmm.
game has changed. Like the game has slightly changed for sample making, but it's relatively the same. So cool. Took a few people, and it was like the same reaction every time. Whether that be learning how to do like busting or whatever, or just to open up a perspective, the same reaction. So I'm like, okay, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing is universally makes sense. And I kept getting inquiries about the classes, even to like I think somewhat this day. Like, and I only posted once back in like May, April. And I'm like, okay, like, all right, this means something. This means something that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is to figure it out and to close that void, because there's a void, right? There's no one really doing that. Like, there's no one really doing this.
Mm-hmm.
One person I can say that can do that's doing it is Mar Luciano,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes people don't want to make his samples because sometimes people don't want his perspective. You know what I'm saying? Or they might
Mm-hmm.
want both. They might want his perspective and my perspective. There's a lot of people that took his class that took my class.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? At first I thought it'd be
Yeah.
weird because at first I thought it was gonna be weird because like he's doing it, I'm doing it. It's like, what the heck?
But I feel like he's a very you two guys have very different perspective and very different samples as well. Like
Yeah,
he's doing like the soul and the gospel and really getting like these old vintage equipment. And
of
then you've got
course,
like your own take of it as well. So it's
of
good to learn
course,
for
of
sure.
course, of course. And that's what something I didn't really consider, as well as I just naturally teach different. I just naturally like me as like Eli, I just naturally teach different. So it's like I should have always like did it. I should have always been in myself and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
But so the classes went good. Obviously, it was a learning curve, right? Because I had to learn about scheduling and I had to learn about like people's lives. Like
Yeah.
some people had some dark things happen to them during the classes, which like I couldn't control. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I can imagine, especially like around this
around
time
this
and
time.
with
So it's
everything
like
going on.
it was like it was a lot to take in, and I was like also I'm trying to like obviously still do my industry stuff as well as help people out. So it wasn't easy, but I mean here we are now. Like to this point, everybody's still happy with it. So but yeah, like the whole goal of it next is to make it more live events, make it more of a, and just initially just like give the formula out to other people, to like people who are like probably in a better position than me to like consider it. Like, yo, you know, let's do this for everybody. Teach them the business. If we teach them the business, we wouldn't have to worry about these label guys like dealing with people dirty or just bad situations. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing I always knew about the music industry when I first came. The learning sphere is non-existent to the point where it's like I feel like that's why a lot of these kids or a lot of new people are going through the motions. You know what I'm saying? With either artist relationships or
Do you mean with like the whole business in general, or just like the money side?
the whole business to the money. It's like that whole thing, the whole thing.
Okay, yeah.
Right? They don't know. No one knows any better. But sometimes I feel like the people we looked up to, because they got out the mud so bad, they don't feel that they don't feel like they want to. You feel me? They feel like everybody should do that, but it's like, nah. For us to preserve this whole industry, I feel like we have to reinvest into ourselves in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's how you move things forward.
That's what move things forward. Facts.
Yeah. So do you, as well as like doing your sample classes and things like that, are you still, would you say like you're still trying to push and get industry placements, and that's like your main
focus? Of course. And that's like, I don't think some people realize, like I'm still working. Like I have like things I'm trying to line up still and lining up while I'm doing these. And it's like, and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to bring the formula out. I'm trying to bring the formula where it's like, you see me doing both. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people don't think they can do both. I think people think you have to do one or the other. Nah. But until I do it like at scale, which are like a larger level, where it's like, oh, he's getting the record for real, and he's doing this. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Some on like some Illmind tip kind of, you know.
Yeah, man. I feel you.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, if they want to find you, where can they find you? Shout out your Insta, all of that.
All right. Instagram, God bless Eli, no underscore, no nothing. On Twitter, it's God bless underscore Eli. You can find me there. Tap in with me, whatever, you know, questions, whatever. I always check the DMs, you know, because I ain't trying to move Hollywood.
Awesome, bro. It was good talking to you and everything, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for even linking me in the first place. Like, that's crazy. Like, I remember you just seeing your vids on YouTube. And, yo, this guy's a cool guy. And they're just like, you know, not thinking much of it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Eli Brown. He dropped some sauce when it comes to melodies and also how to get them out there. But yeah, that's about it for this one. See you in the next podcast.